All right. So when building rapport with my students, I always start off the class by asking them, how are you? How is your day? What have you done? And it's neat with your regular students because you develop such a great relationship with them, and you find out, what they do on certain days. And Sarah, how was dance class today? And they love to tell you about those things, and they love that you remember those things about them. When learning about the farm, I told one of my students that I grew up on a farm. And her mother wrote to me in the parent feedback that her daughter was completely baffled by this because farm culture in China is very different than farm culture here where I come from. So it's really cool as you establish your regular students that you can really learn about them and learn about their lives. Brand new students, it's harder. It's harder to just kind of you have to start from the foundation and what's your name, how are you, and tell me about yourself. The cool thing with level 3 is they can speak to you a little bit. And you can find out some information. If they're really shy, I might say, oh, do you like soccer or football? And I try to just get them looking at something, get them thinking about something, and try to find something that they can talk to me about or tell me about. And I just find that giving them the opportunity to tell you things about themselves is interesting. And one of my favorite things to do with my students to learn about them, is to ask them what they don't like. In lessons so often, oh, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite animal? I like to ask them the opposite. Sometimes the reasons that they give you for why they don't like something is hysterical. And I've actually learned a lot about my students that way. I think the questions that you can use in level 3 to build rapport vary so much from the beginning of level 3 to the end of level 3 because to me, it's such a transitional level. They start being such beginners, and I'm amazed at how conversational they truly are by the end of level 3. At the beginning of level 3, you could ask them simple questions, what do you like? Do you like this or do you like this? Did you have school today? Oh, what did you do? Did you go to the park? You can just ask them simple questions that kind of are the base that, then in those upper levels, we can go into a lot more detail with them. You can ask them about likes and dislikes. I try to ask them about things they like at school, things they don't like at school. Do you like English at school or Chinese at school? But, you can just ask them kind of basic questions. And if they can't answer them, then I try to support them with those choices, English or Chinese or whatever it might be. I try to build some support into those questions if they're unable to answer them toward the beginning of level 3. But by the end, I'm amazed at what they can tell you.
Hi, Rancher.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Very good. What did you do today?
Today, uh, I have an English class.
Ah, very good. I like that you have an English class. All right, Rancher. Today we're going to talk about how things smell, taste, and feel. Here we go.
Oh,
Mhm. All right, Rancher, would you like to find stars or flowers today?
flowers.
Flowers? Okay, very good. Whoops. All right, here we go.
Yeah, so when I have a repeat student, I will keep in mind what they've told me before as far as which city they live in, so that if we talk about the weather, we can reference their city's weather, or if they talk about what they like doing, if it's dancing or singing, I have to keep that in mind so that I can relate it. And then throughout the lesson, once we've gotten past the first part where they're just being introduced to the new target vocab, I start to engage them in some sort of a conversation. And the conversation, I try to direct it into what the lesson's about, but also applying it to them. So if the lesson was something like days of the week, that's kind of a generic lesson. It's kind of hard to think of how that would apply to them, but you can turn it around and say, what day of the week do you go to school? And they can answer that. Which days of the week do you play outside or go to the park? And that it seems small, but you're talking about them and what they do. And then if you want, you can build off of that and you could ask, so what do you do at the park? And keep going with that. If it's a student that I have not taught before, then I try to spend a little bit more time in the beginning of the lesson to let them know that while I'm ready to teach this lesson, I'm also ready to learn about them too. And then throughout the lesson, I start to just ask some basic questions and then get to know their personalities. So even if I don't know them as well as a regular, I can try to incorporate something they've told me into the lesson. So in level 3, they are a little bit more limited in their speaking skills. So I may not be able to ask them what their favorite hobby is because that's something that a level 4 student could handle, but level 3 students might not understand. I also want to avoid asking a lot of questions in the past tense because they may not be able to formulate that response as well. But if you start to ask questions in the present tense or start to go into present continuous tense as they learn that as well, then that will help. So I can ask, so what are you doing today? And they might say, I am doing homework. Or you could say, what do you do in the morning? And they talk to me about their day. So trying to ask really any question you want about the student, but keeping it in their skill level, and that will get them talking a lot more than just nodding and saying yes or no. Get them talking by using the target sentences that they have already been taught.
Hello, teacher.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great, I am fine too. And today is Saturday, so what did you do today?
I can uh I can write homework and watch TV.
Okay, very fun. What do you like to watch on TV?
I like watch Running Man.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Okay, today we are talking more about